Hello, my friends in the underground. You guys ready? I just came across something here I've got to play for you. It's Rush giving an answer. I've heard it before, but it's perfectly articulated here on immigration.
Radio show, you recently said that you would be willing to grant citizenship to all of the dreamers in return for full funding for the border wall. And at a certain point, after a lot of pressure, the Democrats seemed to agree to that, and the president demanded more. So what's going on here?
What's the idea, Rush?
Well, this is actually take a lot to unpack. It's a political issue that the Democrats do not want solved. All this is an effort by the Democrat Party to provide for themselves a current underclass. They need a permanent underclass that is dependent on the government for their survival. That's why they want illegal immigrants granted citizenship. They don't want the issue solved. They don't want any issue solved, legislatively or otherwise, before the 2018 elections. And I think Trump is partially exposing that with the various different proposals that he's making. He's giving them pretty much what they want, and they're turning it down because they don't want it solved. I tell you what, I'll make you another deal right here. I would be willing right here to support an effort to grant permanent citizenship to whatever number of illegal immigrants there are in the country tomorrow. If you will make as part of the deal, they can't vote for 15 to 25 years. And if they will agree to that, then I'll grant them amnesty.
Well, that's pretty interesting. Let me turn to a couple of other...
You see how many takers you'll get zero takers on
Zero
that.
takers.
Well, unfortunately, you're pretty powerful, but I'm not sure you can make that deal on behalf of Congress and the president. But it's a pretty interesting offer. Let me
Nobody would take it.
President. You say in year one that Donald Trump has had one of the most productive years.
Yes, he has. Anyway, this is the issue. When I heard Ted Cruz say this once, and I found it kind of shocking, he said that he proposed that they could make a deal right away on immigration, providing that no one could vote for 10 years. That's just 10 years, I think, is what he offered. And there were no takers. Because, understand something, this is the part that I know Christians don't follow politics a lot, and a lot of preachers don't. And those that are in other countries don't. I mean, they don't understand that the modern Democratic Party looks on, it derives its power almost like off of the, how should I put it, a permanent underclass. They have to have a permanent, dependent underclass, the unemployed, the person who doesn't have work. In other words, anyone who can give them votes. And what's happening is America is becoming more and more a potential banana republic, kind of like one of those failed states in South America, like a Venezuela. If ever the Democrats are able to tap in to their desire to have borderless walls, as Hillary wanted and Obama wanted. I mean, you bring in 20 million immigrants. You got 20 million new voters. You have a permanent control of government. What they have never thought about is the fact that if they were to have the ability to give away everything that they think they can give away, America is literally floating on a bubble of fragile deficit debt right now, and that bubble could burst, and there'd be no business, there'd be no income to supply the needs, and you'd have a collapsed economy. Then what do you have? Just then you might as well go back and read your Harbinger again, because I keep on praying that Donald Trump is the turn in the road. I will tell you this: if he is ever removed from power, if he is forcefully evicted by the impeachment or by some other radical intervention from the left, the anarchy, the days of anarchy begin in America, because Trump isn't just an individual. He is an intervention that God has provided in His grace to a rebellious nation. And we have the clock ticking, and we have to come even more into alignment with rising up as engaged Christians, and we don't really have any mechanisms for what to do other than organizing prayer. I mean, of all the lame things, now that prayer is lame, but there's nothing lamer than trying to solve a problem by prayer alone. Nothing happens by prayer alone. It's always prayer and corresponding action. As a matter of fact, it's almost to tempt God to pray about a problem that you're not willing to get up and obey him in dealing with. So if you pray to get a job, but you refuse to go look for one, if you pray for God to heal a relationship with someone, but you refuse to initiate contact with them, then your prayers do not avail. So I think sometimes we go to prayer as the solution, and revival and awakening and outpouring combined with prayer, we think it's it. It doesn't work that way. We actually have to go till the land. We have to go, we have to be the gardeners that have to put the, shovel in and turn the dirt over and build and plant. What was it that Jeremiah was told? He was going to uproot, he was going to pull down, he would destroy, and then he would build and plant. 3 out of 5 things he had to do were to attack that which was in the way so that something constructive could take place. So prayer is the uprooting, but then we have to do the planting. So, but I wanted you to hear what Rush had to say on that segment there, because the aha experience that I had is that the Democratic Party really needs an underclass to be representing. And, I don't think the Republicans are all virtuous. I think there's greed there. But I'll tell you what really is shocking is I looked when I was in Europe this week. I'm looking at the Spirit of the Lord doing something in the area of Brexit in England, what was really going on, and what is going on right now in Hungary and in Slovakia and in parts of Poland. The Spirit of the Lord is raising up Christians, and there's a man, I think he's running for in Hungary for president or prime minister, whatever their election is. But he I just read this today, and I think I posted it here in the Underground, that he said that the solution to the immigration, the waves of millions of immigrants that have come in from the Middle East and North Africa that are Muslim into Europe, that they are literally not being assimilated, and they're altering the very culture of Judeo-Christian Europe into a kind of a Muslim, balkanized, world. And they say the only solution for Europe is the reviving and restoration of Christianity, that they see Christianity as the roots of their culture. And that's a very powerful statement for a politician to be making. We don't even have that in the United States. So I believe that some sheep nation activity is happening in Eastern Europe, and that they're crying out to God. And they're, in all probability, these are not advanced folks like I would say many of you are in terms of being spiritually so well fed and prophetically educated, and you have all the resources at your disposal that you could possibly want. I believe most of them are Catholic, if I'm not mistaken. And I'll go check that out. Certainly in Poland, that's the case. And so these are just God-fearing Catholics and some Protestants over there that recognize that Christianity is the solution to the problem. And so that explains why the Lord keeps on leading me over to Europe, and I'm sniffing out what is it. And I'm sensing the message of sheep nations and the 7 mountains. As strange as it is, it actually becomes like the tumblers in the vault, that once they click in place, the average Christian there can understand that there's a mechanism for shaping culture, and that they really just now we have to learn the mobilization component. How do we mobilize, and in what ways can we do so? Because unless we utilize our unity for prayer and corresponding action, then we are only doing half the battle. Make sense? Well, okay. Let me see. What do we got here? Hungary and Poland are leading the way. Poland refused to let in the Syrians. Yeah, they are. They're standing up to the immigration edicts of Merkel, and this is starting to break up the European Union. which, by the way, has been one of the key people, one of the key funders of the stay in the European Union vote. The source was coming from American business. I was just shocked to see. I'm going to read this stuff to you later. But the top 10 American corporations that didn't want Brexit to happen because they like doing business with Brussels. In other words, big business makes money off of government. It's scary, man. When government and business are in bed together, which is what's happening in America, then you no longer have like entrepreneurial freedom. What you've got is big business and big government in collusion together. So, man, we got to get Christians in these places. We're the only people that can't be controlled by that stuff. David Kelly, revivalists, bringing something back to life. Reformers are shifting the present systems, creating something never before seen. We're at a revolutionary nation. How did our founding fathers mobilize? Well, you're very profound there, David. Patterns create portals. I think you're right. And they of course mobilize people geographically. So we have to start thinking about how are we going to work together within our own geography. And we just had one of our staff members go to Washington while I was in England to get an update on what's happening with the midterms so that we can come back and start looking at what states you guys are in. And please, Cynthia Dunbar, I want you guys to all know this. Cynthia Dunbar, strong believer, is running for Congress in Virginia. And just look up Cynthia Dunbar, congressional candidate. And we really need to be cheering for her. And if you know anyone in Virginia is going to church there, she's in churches now, just drumming up support, because I think that she's going to end up going to Congress. And we got one of our group that is going this way. We got to stand together. So check out what Cynthia Dunbar. Just look her up, Dunbar, and I'll see if I can get an address for you, because I did have an address for her about 2 weeks ago when I did a broadcast. And okay, there we go, Sherry Preston Horton. Yeah, you have to network with the local. We'll find out who is. There's a lot of grassroots organizations, 120 grassroots organizations out there. But to my knowledge, nobody has the Rolodex of the 120 Christian grassroots organizers. I don't know who they are. And so we're going to be, but I'm saying there's something going on in Eastern Europe and, of course, in Central America. I think that in Guatemala and Honduras and in Peru and in Paraguay, there are certain Central American and South American nations where the churches are so strong. They've been praying for revival. And I just believe that, I don't know how they voted on the embassy vote for Jerusalem. That'll be interesting to look at. Other than Guatemala, what other nations in South America? And it's so funny, I was in England joking about how I didn't know, like, Micronesia and Tonga were two nations that I really need to get familiar with, since they stood with the United States on the embassy move. And while I was in the meeting, people from Tonga were in the audience and came up and introduced themselves to me. It was kind of surreal. You meet the nations eventually. Okay, we need an agenda. The socialists are better as one than the conservatives. Yep, Laura, that's true. But the socialists don't have I believe we have answers. I think conservative logic and conservative reasoning is largely biblical, and we need to learn how to make it, or articulate it and apply it better. I believe it's education. Okay, we have someone from Canada. You ran for office in Alberta, Canada. Many churches were not wanting to get involved. Yeah, Canada is so liberal. Like, I'm telling you, it's the preachers I was getting a challenge from. They're telling me the Republicans, the Democrats are the same thing. And they don't even know they don't know. It's really scary. It's scary when you don't know, you don't know, you don't know. So I just said, no, they're not the same thing. Maybe in your Mother's Day, but not today. My mom was a Kennedy Democrat, and this isn't the Democratic Party of John Kennedy. So, oh, there's Tonga in the South Pacific. Okay. And Fiji. All right, you guys. Well, we got 40. I'll have more coming on later. But let's just finish off here with Rush. And we'll leave with a rush of Rush and see if we can hear what the president's done in his first year, because we're all part of that happen.
In the economy, Wall Street's been going crazy for a long time, but in the economy, in the place where people work, the people who make the country work, their lives are changing dramatically, overwhelmingly, economically. Look at all the wage increases, the new jobs, the bonuses, and the expansion of benefits. The president is delivering on many of the things that he committed to and promised. And the Democrats demagogued and lied about this tax cut, telling everybody their taxes were going to go up. The Democrats now are beginning to regret. They can see the polling data. They can see that people are starting to really love this tax reform bill because they're finding out the Democrats lied to them about it. And there's not one Democrat fingerprint on it. There's not a single Democrat that can claim any credit for this massively booming United States economy.
But Rush,
they
let me just pick up on one last thing, because he certainly deserves credit for a lot of things, but he failed to repeal Obamacare, he and the Congress. He has approved this new spending plan, which is going to add $500 billion to our national debt over the next 2 years. Does that disappoint you? Do you hear about
Rush,
it
what do you say?
from any of your listeners?
You know, that is a fascinating question. In terms of this budget-busting spending, I haven't had one caller complain about it. I'm sure I will now, but I haven't had one. And it's been surprising
I want to
to me
complain.
that there hasn't been a single complaint compared to the spending complaining that was doing back in 2010 Tea Party was founded.
Sure.
But I think the massive size of these deficits is not going to be as large as predicted because of the tax cut. There's going to be revenue flowing
That's
into
right.
Washington they aren't counting. It's still going to be, I mean, it's deficit building, there's no question, but it's not going to be nearly as high and as bad as people think it is. What was the other thing you asked about?
You've got about 45 seconds.
He's like me. He can't remember anything.
Well, we got rid of the individual mandate. That's
All right, that's good enough, Rush. Hold it right there. All right, you guys.
It's amazing this president can do this stuff with half of the government trying to sabotage him. If America ever worked in unity, dang, what we could do if we ever worked in unity. And by the way, if you guys ever get a hold of an author by the name of David Horowitz, I'll tell you what, you can't read it unless you're dyslexic. David Horowitz. I'm reading Portraits of a Destructive Passion, Radicals. David Horowitz knows more about the left than anyone in America. So Horowitz is the author of the New York Times bestseller, Unholy Alliance and The Professors. But this guy, I'm telling you, if you guys want to get an understanding of what battle we're in spiritually and ideologically, you really do need to know who David Horowitz is and get a hold of some of his stuff. Another David Horowitz book is The Black Book of the American Left. He's a conservative who was a former radical Berkeley Marxist protester type professor. And David Horowitz, one of America's most important and interesting thinkers. So if you guys are interested in knowing what I do in my free time for light reading, Andrew Womack, and what else am I reading? Of course, the Bible, and just catching up with some David Horowitz and Vox Populi. Oh, this book is fantastic. I don't want to waste your time, though, and drive you nuts with me just taking you into books and stuff. But I'm reading this book, Vox Populi. It's about 10 essays on populism as a phenomenon and what's going on around the world. And just sharpening my thinking on stuff. Just incredible. I want to read one part to you. He spoke, yes, he spoke in the Frankfurt School. Very good, John Moore. Excellent. All right, hold on. Let me see if I can find my briefcase here. I got to read this to you. If I have it, if I have it. If I don't, I'll do it. I promise you I'll do it tomorrow. All right, hold on. Oh, I don't have it here. Yeah, I'll have to go into my... I'll have to tear open my luggage. I just got here. Tomorrow, okay? I want to read to you my favorite quotes so you guys can be in for my book. I'm really working on this book. I'm going to be on Jim Baker's show, and I want to do a book on the movement that we're part of, the whole Cyrus movement. Did you guys see that crazy coin that came out from the Sanhedrin? It has Cyrus and Donald Trump on it. The Jewish Sanhedrin just issued the coin, the 70th year anniversary of the nation of Israel. Cyrus and Donald Trump on the coin of the Jewish Sanhedrin, silver coin, commemorating the work of Cyrus and Donald Trump. Mamma mia, can you believe it? I should have been leading my broadcast with that. I got to get that out there to everybody. Someone just send it to me. You guys always keep me informed, by the way, because, I read what you send. All right, I love you, and I'll talk to you later. The coin is real. Yes, the coin is real.